The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Quirky Dog Podcast, inspired by some of the quirkiest dogs you can ever imagine and the owners who love them. This podcast is brought to you by the quirky couple themselves, Scott and Jess Williams. Their aim is to educate and entertain. Here's Scott and Jess.
Welcome, guys, and happy Wednesday. We have very special guests with us today. They're actually some of our very good friends, and we're excited to introduce you to them and do a little chatting with them. But first, we're going to start with the quirky tip of the day. I got to give a little shout out to Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, too, because we got these cute tumblers,
you gotta turn
and they
around.
have our logo on the back. I mean, come on! The water was great, but now it's super cold, and Scott's coffee is going to be nice and hot. Okay, so today we have Laura and Adrian Centeno. They're here from Los Angeles. Adrian and Scott actually used to work together, and Scott will give Adrian a lot of credit about how he learned to train dogs early on in his career and everything else. But my tip is, if you're out in Los Angeles or anywhere in LA County, check out 911 Dog Training. Adrian still does do some pet dog training, and that area is very saturated with dog trainers, but like our seal is on Adrian and Laura. They know what they're doing. They've been around for a while. So if you need help out on the West Coast, check out 911 Dog Training.
Especially if you've already tried a few dog trainers and your dog is still crazy, then call Adrian.
That's Scott's new thing. Every house he goes to, they're like, you're the fourth or fifth dog trainer we've seen this month. But somehow he makes it work. So
yeah,
we're all doing the best we can. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us.
I know you're not.
Welcome.
I know you're not big on talking and all that stuff. So it's nice to get you here. I feel like you're another one of these hidden gems that, great dog trainer, but kind of operating quiet under the wire. Not a lot of publicity, and the people that get all the publicity don't know what they're doing. There's a lot of talk, a lot of videos. They don't know how to train dogs.
Tell them a little bit about your history with Adrian, just so we let our listeners and viewers know. I
think, Adrian, if I remember correctly, we met, we were over in Compton at a park. And
classy.
With Larry Hansen introduced. She knew both of us. I guess Larry did. And you showed up. You didn't say anything. You didn't talk. You acted like you didn't know anything. And if we'd ask you questions, you'd say, I don't know, maybe, And we started working together, and it took me a few weeks to realize, the depth of knowledge that you had about dog training, because you never said anything. You're very quiet, and but really, I do credit you for the foundation of my dog training as a dog trainer, because I didn't have a clue as to what I was doing when I met you. I had a Malinois. I was doing. Had done some Schutzhund and done, some foundational French ring stuff. But I tell you, the pet dog business is what really, really opens up my eyes as far as dog training, because, it's pretty easy to train a dog if they have this great drive for a toy or something, and you learn
learn
how to manipulate that toy drive to get what you want. But that's only one small aspect of dog training and everything that you got to deal with. So, I remember watching you, work with some pet dogs that they didn't want any food, they don't want a toy, and it's like, and you'd say, "Is no magic." That's what you'd always say, is no magic, Scott. You just got to work. You just got to work, and there's a lot to be said for that. Sometimes it's just the repetitions and putting in the time, but if you don't have a lot of experience, it's easy to second guess yourself if you've put in what you think is enough time and the dog isn't responding appropriately. And if you haven't done it for a long time, you might start second guessing yourself and say, well, maybe I should be doing this differently, And sometimes it's just, some dogs take a lot more time than others. That's the bottom line,
Adrian is one of the most humble people out there.
Yeah.
So Adrian,
very talkative.
Scott's talkative on this podcast. I'm going to have more introverted guests on.
Well, Adrian would come home from work and tell Laura, Scott just talked all day long. That's it.
I do have to say before we get. Oh, he does. He talks like that to me too, Adrian. It's the same thing, just story upon story, blah 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 blah. But Adrian's quiet in general. I do want to say though, I thought one of the funniest things was when Laura would talk about how Scott and Adrian had their own like communication system, like their own language.
Yes.
Yeah, like because they would train pet dogs together, but then they did French ring training together too. And I've had the pleasure of training with Adrian and Scott a few times over the past decade also. And like there is this like certain level of grunting and like, you know, like they understand what's going on and everybody else is like, oh, I guess that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, we trained a lot of dogs together.
It's been many years, but till this day, Adrian has got like a few training partners. But till this day, I say, hey, no offense, but Adrian's best training partner has been Scott.
Yeah,
I miss Scott till this day, and he's been gone for over 10 years. Until this day, we miss Scott.
Well, don't get him crying this early in the podcast, Laura. It's a problem that we live in Maine and you guys live in California. Just geographically, it's an issue.
I think all I did, I just kept Adrian from losing his temper.
That's true. That's true.
All right. I want to hear about when did you start training dogs professionally, Adrian? Lean in a little.
Yeah, get closer so we can
There
hear.
you go.
Okay, you have to sit on the floor right next to Laura because we can't hear you. You got to get right to the speaker.
Come on.
There you go.
Lovey-dovey. There we go.
Okay. So
Oh,
it's
good.
hard for me to say I am a professional trainer because, you know, I don't know, it's just hard because even though I have a lot of experience, I think I have to learn a lot still, you know. I don't know everything. I have, you know, over 30 years of experience, but I don't know everything. I think I have to keep learning.
Well, let me redefine professional. How long have you been making money training dogs? That maybe is an easier way to look at it.
Well, it's easier than not because
sometimes he still gives a lot of retraining.
Yes, I understand the question and everything, but I don't believe like because you charge, that make you professional.
That's for sure.
That's true.
Like 2 years, they is going to the dog training and they give seminars.
Yeah.
They charging and they don't know what they're doing. I mean, everybody can do whatever they want, but I think 1 or 2, 3 years they don't want to make it professional. But they're already charging, so that's make them a professional.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Well, I think experience in this industry, it really raises your professionalism. And the fact that you started training Scott over 15 years ago, and you were in the States before you even met Scott, right? How long were you in the States?
Yes. Well, you know, like I always said, I started training dogs when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
You know, very young. And I started doing, you know, as I was learning, because nobody, you know, I didn't knew anything. So I started trying to learn as I was going with my dog, what I have at that time, and just started going from there. Then I started getting older, you know, started taking seminars and stuff. So, yes, I don't know. It's hard for me to tell you I'm starting doing professional. I mean, I was working already dogs, if we can say professionally, when I was around 20 years old, when I was charging for pet obedience and protection. When I started doing that, that's when I first started doing in dog training, obedience and protection.
So that was like 60 years ago almost. Huh?
No,
59.
No, that was over 35 years.
And Laura, you've been on the scene most of that time then, correct? Like,
yes, actually, I was around when he was already charging.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
like
I didn't know what I was doing, but I was charging the same like now. You know?
Yeah.
I had 2 years of working dogs, and they were paying me, and that was fine.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, the reason I started the business, Adrian, was so that you and I could train our own dogs every day.
Yeah, I know
that was the reason I started the business.
Yeah,
I
it was a
remember
really
that.
good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You.
I guess our listeners don't know that, but Scott was a
I had to
roofing
tell
contractor. What?
Yeah, I had to tell Scott, hey, let's work the client's dog first, and then
we can work our dogs.
I'm glad somebody was looking out for the priorities back then. Now I got to say, no, we got to work before we play.
Right.
But Scott was a roofing contractor, when he was kind of getting into dogs and protection and everything else. And then fortunately he was able to leave that business completely and do pet dog training. And that's when him and Adrian got together, just so our people know. So coming from Mexico, you went to a dog training school there. Is that right? You did some kind of more formal training there?
Went through the Mexican Federation. You had to have or take a lot of seminars.
Group of seminars.
And then they really don't remember you have to take a test or not, and then you become they give you a certificate like you are the professional dog trainer. Again,
they didn't give you one, did they?
Yes, they did. The garage, yes.
Well, now you can just get those online even. So yours is legit. Even if it was in person, it's legit.
Yeah. Okay. But before that, he took another seminar with a guy that he used to give it was like a 10-month seminar.
It was really long seminar.
Yeah, it was really long.
And what's really good, I learned a lot from that guy. And, we start maybe 40 guys taking the seminar. At the end, we only were 3 who passed. What's really hard.
And it didn't pass with A+.
So did you have many dogs throughout the 10 months? Is that how it worked, or how did?
Yes. Yeah, you're supposed to be working a lot of different dogs.
Yeah.
Through the seminars, so you start learning more and more.
So he trained a lot of the dogs in our neighborhood. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
It was more pleasant to live there then, I'm sure.
Yeah, we take dogs to the seminar. My friends or neighbors or whatever. So we start training those dogs, and then we start learning from them.
Yeah, and one of the things to pass one of the requirements to pass is the guy wanted you to get a brevet or a BH.
Okay.
He wanted a fully trained dog.
Right.
But he presented how he passed his test. He presented a personal protection dog that we end up selling to a security business. So that was his passing test.
Wow.
Nice.
So,
nice. A little bit of a double whammy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about culturally, because Adrian has more knowledge of this, and I know you guys work with some decoys and stuff that are still in Mexico. Culturally, how do you think that dogs and raising dogs and everything is different there than it is here in the States? Because Adrian and Laura are in LA, obviously.
But you started in Mexico City, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are from Mexico City, and
we started over there.
And I think now, right now, I think it's really pretty much the same. They treat the dog like here. They take care really well of the dog. Sometimes too much, it's just they don't want to even put a collar on the dog because the dog doesn't have to have a collar and stuff like that.
So they're becoming Americanized.
Yes.
Are they pushing dogs in strollers in Mexico, or we're not to that point yet?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, they are.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
okay. Wow. So how about when you guys maybe first came? Let's talk about that then, because now if there's more of a similarity, that's not as interesting to me. But when you first came up, how were things different from where you came in Mexico training, and then when you got to the States, how people were with dogs?
Well, the thing is, it was totally different. The dog wasn't really a part of the family like now. It was like a pet, and they don't have to be outside all day, and pretty much nobody pay attention to the dog. You
don't buy them food, you just give them the leftovers?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much it's just whatever it is, leftover, you give it to the dog. So really now it changed a lot. Now I can say it's pretty much like here.
Yeah.
But we're talking about, I don't know,
35, 40 years ago. 40 years ago.
Like that.
Is this when you were keeping the dog on the roof? You keep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, most of the dogs at that time. No, now.
Yeah.
There's no more dogs on the roof.
Now you get arrested keeping the dog on the roof.
Normal place for the dog to be on the roof.
So are there fewer strays down there than now, or are there still a lot of strays?
No, you still see a lot of strays.
Yeah.
You still see a lot of them, but now there's a lot of associations actually helping.
Yes.
Taking care of these dogs. It has become a lot like here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even worse, like I said, just getting like
I remember, Adrian, you were telling me you'd be training a dog, or you have a pet dog, and you come home and your dad had given the dog away.
Yeah.
That's
the reason I started training dogs. Because, he
didn't want you to have a dog.
He never likes dogs.
Right.
He never liked dogs. And my mom, he was okay.
She was okay.
Really, he was okay. He didn't really care about. The dog was there. She was feeding him and everything. But my dad, either dog was barking a lot, or was, chewing something, or being inside the house, or just doing what they're supposed to do. When you come from the school that time, the dog was gone. So then
you had to train him quicker.
So what I had to do to keep the dog in the house. So I had to train. At that time, I didn't know anything. I just started training my dog to behave, so my dog doesn't give it away,
right?
His friend or neighbor or whatever. So that's the way I started doing dog training.
There was a pretty serious time. There was a pretty serious time crunch there to make that happen. Then.
Yeah.
Yes. So I had to learn, really quick.
Yeah.
I figured out what I'm gonna do to don't bark, to sit, to stay, down, to stay, all that stuff.
Don't piss off Dad. Yeah.
Yes.
Either get rid of the dad or get rid of the dog, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He
He couldn't get rid of his dad.
You should have kept the dogs at Laura's house.
Hey, I was raised with no dogs.
Oh yeah, I remember, Adrian, you telling me about the Rottweiler you had, the protection dog that Laura chased the dog out of the house with the broom. Something.
No, with a Barbie doll.
Laura's tough. She knows how to roll with the hardcore dogs. And I have kind of had to go into that world too, Laura, because, Scott was doing French Ring when we met and everything else. And I had a Mal and he had a Mal. And it's a different breed of dogs when you're dealing with these, strong protection dogs than a lot of these pet dogs. I mean, pet dogs aren't always safe. But you got to know what you're doing and you got to keep yourself safe and you got to stand up for yourself.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's like you need to be like a mom.
Yeah.
Actually, I act like a mom.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've been lucky. I think 99% of the dogs that have come into our house like me. Even police dogs that he has trained. We have had like a few really tough dogs. And I think there's only been like a couple that haven't liked me. But other than I'd be lucky. They like me.
Yeah.
For some reason, they like me.
Well, we talk about this a lot.
I'd be lucky.
Yeah, we talk about like dog sense. And I think both of you have good dog sense. And it's kind of innate and intuitive. And no matter how many books you read or how long you're doing it, like dog sense overrides everything. And I've seen you with dogs, Laura, and you definitely naturally have that.
And maybe after Adrian gets through training, they're happy to see you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's osmosis at night when you're sleeping. Yes. Yeah, because, I wasn't raised with dogs. Dogs were never my thing. But, as soon as we got married, I had 2 dogs. So you got to learn quick.
And then 3 and then 4.
And then, 1,
they
2,
multiplied.
and 4, Yeah, they multiply. Now we own a lot of dogs. We own a lot of dogs. We move around a lot of dogs.
Right.
What kind of breeds have you guys had over the years? Just so I'm more aware. What different types of breeds have you owned?
Through all my life, I think I started, like a lot of people in Mexico with pit bulls.
Pitbull.
I own like 3 pit bulls.
Boxer.
Siberian Husky.
Giant Schnauzer. We had a Giant Schnauzer.
Wow, you guys got them all.
I raised them all of them. I never get any already adult dog.
Adult dog.
All from a puppy.
French. We had also what is it? French Poodle. We had French.
You put a brevet on the poodle or no?
No, at that time
You're slacking a little bit, Adrian. Come on now, all breed SoCal ringers. You got to step it up.
Yeah. We tried to do protection with the Chihuahua, but he didn't want to let go, so we had problem with the out.
Yeah, it's too strong. Yeah.
What do you guys own for breeds currently right now?
Right now, Laura, she's working at a Malinois female.
I have a Malinois female.
She's a ring 1, going to ring 2. And I have a Dog Shepherd, and he's going for ring 2.
He just started a German Shepherd.
Oh, okay. Wow, cool. Way to go, Laura. Is this your first dog personally, yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you believe it?
Congratulations.
It's so funny. I went to a trial, and after I competed and everything, I went to say thank you to the judge. And he's known me probably 10 years. And he goes, Laura, you did pretty good, but when was it? You were really nervous. When was the last time you competed? Because I haven't seen you on the field. I said, hey, this is my first trial. He couldn't believe it. And I'm like, I have had, I still probably remember. So I used to handle Adrian's dog.
All the time.
But one thing is to handle a dog for training, like on the bungee and stuff like that. That's the easy part. Teaching a dog obedience and behaviors and stuff, it's different. Standing right there on the bungee, and whistling the dog back, that was nothing.
Right.
There's a lot of rules.
nothing.
There's a lot of rules too in French ring. It's a hard sport for the handler. You got to really understand all the rules. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been lucky. I was a secretary for I don't know how many trials.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and you saw Adrian and Scott mess up over the years, so okay, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't hold the retrieve item here.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that Jess should handle my dog in a trial because in training she is always handling the dog. So it's even harder for me than when I'm...
Since we brought him up, you guys bred too strong of a dog. He can't put the suit on anymore. We got to hire somebody to come and live and be a decoy for that dog because he's a hardcore biter. Even when you were out, Adrian, he got your knee. He's a tough dog.
I remember.
Lovely dog.
He remembers.
We love him. I know. I felt so bad the first day.
Because of that.
So what are you guys doing right now? You're doing some different stuff as far as the dogs that you're training and then selling at a later age, right?
Yes, we're doing that.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we train dogs. I don't know, they call it a green dogs. We work some Labradors to sell them as a green dogs. We try to do some Malinois. We don't have right now any to sell to the police. So we do all the training and try to sell them to them.
So you guys have those dogs longer than pet dogs. They're with you a little longer, a few months or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
But usually we start raising. They are with us from a puppy, and then we raise them.
Okay.
We raise them and we do all the training. Right now, for some reason, we just have Labradors for sale. Interesting.
So if somebody's looking for Labradors for vacation,
911 dog training.
And really good dogs.
But interesting. This is the first time in a lot of years that we only have Labradors. In the past, we always had Malinois or German Shepherd.
Well, it's a lot safer to have a bunch of Labradors in the yard.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, we just lost our last German. We just sold our last German Shepherd 8 months ago, and we just been working Labradors.
And it's safer,
We didn't plan it; it just happened.
I think that now at your age, Adrian, Labrador is probably better.
They're already too much work for me.
Scott can barely handle a Maltipoo, so don't let him make you feel bad.
For me, it's just a Labradoodle. That's it, Labradoodle.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit because you guys have 2 girls also, right? I haven't met your daughter. 3. You have 3. Okay.
We have 3.
So you have 3 girls. So they were around during all of this, and something that I'm fascinated with, and I kind of want our listeners and viewers to understand, is raising the kids with the dogs. And even when the girls were growing up, I think you still had working dogs in the house, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about that. I know that they're all adults now and everything else, but just the process of, we have all these dogs that are bred to maybe go and be police dogs, but now we also have little kids running around. What does that look like?
We need to be really careful.
Well, you don't have the Malinois loose in the house, right? They're not running around in the house.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have.
I know that one of your daughters was wearing the bite suit when I was there. One of the girls was...
Yeah, well, actually, yes. We always had dogs, and like I said, we have always dogs from puppies, and we raise them, so they always with my daughters. And actually, my daughters, at some point, they put the suit for me.
Yeah, I remember.
And they helped me to work dogs.
Yeah.
Yes, to train dogs.
They're pretty savvy. Yeah.
Yes.
They learn.
Do they still like dogs now, and do they have their own dogs within their families?
Well, they help us every day,
They help us, but it's nothing like they wanted to do.
It's work,
they do
yeah.
something else.
Yeah, our kids are totally burnt out on dogs, too. They're like, plenty of dogs back in the past. We're good.
Yes,
We don't need...
Yes, yes.
I
They're
bought-
like that. Yeah.
I got a...
And one of them actually does really nice obedience, and he doesn't even try that hard.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I got a little bite suit for a kid from Rodney Spicer years ago, and I put it on my son, Alex, when he was about 10 or 11. So I got him out doing some bite work, and the suit was too thin. So the dog bites his leg, and he's like, tell him out, tell him out, tell him out. And after a few bites, he was not excited about doing bite work anymore because the suit was just too thin for him.
It was cute, a little custom-made suit. We gave it to, who did we give it to? A Schützen helper or somebody around here for his son. I have a question just for Adrian, just for my curiosity more so than anything. What do you enjoy most about dogs now? Like, do you like going to the ring field and just training your own dog? Or what's your favorite part of dogs?
I don't like to go to the ring. I hate to compete my dog. I get really, really nervous. As Scott knows that.
Yeah.
I like to train. I like to race puppies, I love it.
Yeah.
I enjoy really the time teaching them to do everything. That's what I really enjoy.
So no matter the
Going to
breed, you
trials,
just like raising them.
But I had to do it, you know.
Yeah.
I had to try it.
Well, now you can have Laura do all of the competing. You just hand the dog off.
No, she doesn't want to do mine, but it's all good. But that's what I really enjoy to train dogs.
Well, but you know what?
From a puppy.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, but you know, some stuff that people don't know is that I handle a lot of dogs for agents to work during the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
So-
Don't you worry. I know. I got
It's
your
like
back, girl.
you. Yeah, just the same like you.
You know, but you know, this is something we don't know. You know, people bring their dogs. I handle. He works them.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of that, and you know, for personal protection or for sport, whatever. So it's like thinking about going to a trial is really hard because if I were to go to a trial with these dogs, we have like 7 dogs that I would need to trial.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I know it. It's
And now
challenging.
he wants me to do AKC obedience. And I'm like, no, please, this is not my thing.
Well, we have some dogs like we train them. They are not us; belong to
They're
somebody
not.
else. But they send the dog to train with us to put some titles, and then we can send them back.
Oh, yeah.
So she had to help me. She had to handle them.
Protection or
She doesn't
AKC?
put the suit, but she had to handle them. So
For protection.
Well,
she's over there.
you know that he's not shy about like Laura getting the suit. So I've done that, but it's not my thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you
She
really,
she has put this.
if you want
I
the
did
dog
that.
to learn,
I did that the
Get a
last
decoy.
time in the blinds for Cousteau, and I almost passed out because he used to bite me like, oh,
Yeah.
you're my mommy. It's
Yeah.
different. And then we were frustrating him, and he came in and bit like he bites the rest of the country. And I was like, all right, I'm all done with that. All set.
Yeah.
Let's talk funny stories. Laura, do you have any good stories from Scott and Adrian back in the day?
Be careful.
We should have cleared the stories.
No, I think she doesn't.
well, you know, maybe, but you know, it's hard to think of one right now. But you know, it's like seeing these guys train. You know, I remember back in the day, like
That wasn't funny. It was good.
no, it was nice, but you know, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember them like, you know, at the beginning it was really hard for them because Adrian was not Scott's type of decoy and
Yeah.
the other way around. So it was really.
What are you talking about? He wasn't my type of decoy.
Scott doesn't know what he likes.
I was happy
You
if
know,
anybody
you know-
put the suit on.
No, but I remember,
Yeah.
you know, like when you guys actually started training, you were happy about how it felt, but you know, you were developing your own style of training, and Adrian wasn't necessarily what you were looking for, and he wasn't exactly. But I remember that it was really interesting to see how the two of you started growing,
Yeah.
and he became what you wanted, and you became what he wanted. And the two of you just like clashed and started training together. And it was so interesting to see you train because you guys sometimes wouldn't even talk. It was like just the way they look at each other.
Well, I
Yeah, I
think
know. And
we did get along well.
Yeah, we have really good.
yeah, and I think that was a lot of fun.
And I
going
think-
to trials
I
and-
think I'm the only person that Adrian that likes Adrian. Really, I think that's.
Yes. Besides that.
I love Adrian. Now you stop it. Be nice to Adrian. All right. Scott always talks about the Pomeranian story. So let's talk about the Pomeranian story before we close.
I can barely hear you.
You can't hear me? I'm the loudest person in the
I can
country.
barely.
No, I just want to say when we had the one story I'll never forget is the Pomeranian that escaped
Oh,
out,
yes, I
out of the
remember that.
yard.
That was-
And we had 2 gates so that just to make sure the dog can't get out. And we came in. I left the one gate open. Whatever happened,
Shocking.
the dog gets out of the one gate into the dog yard, and I go and look, and he's not there. Like immediately, he went out the second gate. And I mean, I must have been just 10 seconds behind the dog, and I look outside, there's no dog. So I figure he must be in the bushes around the house. There's no way he could have run away that quick. The dog was like already 2 blocks away, and we get in the car, in the van, and start driving up and down the street looking for this little 2-pound Pomeranian. And he comes darting out of a yard, and he's in front of the van running down the street, and we're chasing him in this big van. And I was just... I mean, it was so stressful, and fortunately we were able to get him, and nothing happened to the dog, thankfully. But I'll never forget that, and it's very rare. And in fact, that's probably the only dog that ever got loose. We had
wasn't
hundreds.
funny. It was really-
It was very stressful.
But
it's funny. It's funny now.
Hearing, you know how Scott tells all the stories. He's like, "We're driving behind the dog like it's a cartoon," you know, and it's funny.
Well, I remember I was running.
The
You were in the band. I was running.
Yeah,
behind the dog, but the dog was so fast.
They are those little. They're so fast. Those little
I couldn't
legs.
believe how
they
fast
go
he was.
so quickly.
Oh, yes, yes. That's the first time I saw a dog running that fast down the street. Wow.
I know.
Really,
I mean, this reminds me.
His little hair could go like that, Laura.
No, yes. Yeah.
When I had,
but the thing is, the dog was safe and everything is fine.
Yeah. Well, my daughter's Pomeranian. We took her. I don't know if you were there or not, but I was having trouble with the recall with my daughter's Pomeranian, and the dog was maybe just a year old. So I took her to the field over by the community center, and I decided I'm going to put a piece of dental floss on the dog because the big long line is too heavy, you know. So I put the dental floss on, and I call her, and I pull, and the dental floss just snaps right away. And she just takes off running across the field. Yeah. And again.
Wow.
But we got her back too. But they're faster than you'd think. You're like, oh, it's little. I can catch it. No, faster than Jack Russell. Fast.
It'd be better to send a Labrador to retrieve.
with a soft mouth, mouth though. All right, you guys, thank you so much. This was fun. This was more Old Home Week for us, but we wanted to talk about some of the differences. And Scott always says this, that there are some amazing trainers out there that aren't going to pop up first on Google and everything else. And it doesn't, our social media presence and everything that you have as a dog trainer is just one part of the package. Experience and, being able to relate to a dog and a human. And you've always done that so well. So we really appreciate having you on. And Laura, thank you for coming on too, to make sure that he'd be here.
And yeah, I had to force him. He's like, I don't want to.
You were chatty. You were good, Adrian.
I will tell you that I'm still learning from the dogs, just like you said. I mean, I think it was just
stop learning.
A few weeks ago, a dog did something. We've never seen that before. I'm like, I can't believe it. I thought I've seen everything at this point. No, there's something new coming up all the time.
And the more people say they know, then maybe more you should stay away. So humility is good in this industry.
And the people are crazier all the time too.
Yeah, some people say I know everything and I'm the best. So it's a lot of people like that. But no, you never stop learning. It's always something to learn. Yeah. Every time I have a chance to go to a seminar, I go.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to see a lot the same, but it's something you can learn. You want to learn a lot of stuff. You want to learn a lot of stuff bad, but also is one good. I'm going to take that one.
Yeah.
And use it, and the rest I don't want to do it. But I every time I have chance to go to a seminar, I just go.
Okay, let me tell you guys, we went to a seminar last year, an obedience seminar of the Mexican champion. It was a very basic seminar. But Adrian goes like, this guy is really great, and I want to see how he does it. So we stayed there for 2 full days. Nothing new. We just watch and, we didn't say anything. We just watch and hear. Almost at the end of the second day, Adrian looked at me and he goes, got it. And he goes, what? Did you hear that, Laura? And I say, yes. He goes, okay, it was worth it coming for 3 days, making the drive, spending all that money. He just clicked. What I wanted to learn, he just said it.
Yep.
We can go home happy now.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. He had to tell you because he would have forgotten by the time he got home.
Yes. All the time. Remember what I told you? Oh, yeah. Okay. Now I go.
That's why we spent all that money. No, it's true. And sometimes it's just one gem, and all those gems make the whole difference. Yeah. We miss you guys so much. If you ever come out here where there's rooms for you and the dogs and the girls and whatever, and we'll come to California. Once we can get somebody to watch that damn puppy you sold us. Cousteau's our Alcatraz.
If you don't want him, you can send him to me.
We love him. We love him. I just can't fly him as an ESA anymore, so I got to figure out who can watch him before we visit.
He's too big. You got to charter a plane just for him. He's like 80 pounds.
But we miss you guys, and it's so good to see you. And thank you so much for coming on. We love you too. Take care, guys.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
That's okay. Oh, we're doing it again. All right. We will see you guys next Wednesday. And in the meantime, keep it quirky.
The views and opinions expressed by the host,
Does your
guests,
dog
or
lack
callers of this
self-control?
program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.